Voila! Finally done! The most exhausting part of moving mansion was having to rearrange my Birkin collection. But at least my walk-in closet is bigger than my last one, so now I need to pick out the perfect outfit for school tomorrow. First impressions are crucial. This is my favorite fit at the moment, but let's get a second opinion. Mom, Dad, what do you think? Wellstone High's new Queen Bees incoming! Adele, there you are. I bought you a few new items. Ooh, goody. I love surprises. What is this? Mom, are these for the maids? Honey Pie, it appears that well-off residents in this neighborhood have been targeted by a dangerous robbers gang. For your safety, you'd better tone down your outfits, at least until they catch the thieves. I know it's not ideal, but safety first. Come on, Pumpkin, isn't this shirt adorable? No, it's not. I'm not being seen dead in that rag. My parents were probably just exaggerating. Let's see. It seems some girl had her Hermes bag stolen, another her Cartier bracelet, and some guy his Rolex. No, I couldn't let some crooks take my precious babies. The next morning, I trudged downstairs in those awfully bland clothes. Ugh, they were itchy and smelled so bad. Darling, this will only be for a little while. You're our only angel, and we simply couldn't bear it if anything were to happen to you. Fine. Where's my chauffeur? I want to take the Porsche today. At least that can still save my grand entrance. Absolutely not. If you do that, you may as well be wearing a beacon to attract those thieves. I think it's best if you take the bus. The bus? Before I could protest anymore, Mom kissed me on the forehead, burst into tears, and ran off hysterically. Have a wonderful day, sweetie. Great. So much worrying for me. Now I had no choice but to find the bus stop, wherever that was. I wandered around the corner when suddenly a deafening scream came from behind me. Thief! Watch out! I spun around to see a guy running towards me, so I immediately sped off. But soon I felt the thief reach me. Terrified, I crouched down, raised my bag. Here, take it! Don't hurt me! But no reply. I peered up and saw the guy was ahead of me and was restraining a bad guy. Turns out he wasn't the thief, and the actual thief wasn't after me. Oops, how embarrassing. Let's just leave ASAP, but I ended up crashing into some flashy car. Are you okay? It's the guy who just caught the thief. I froze. He's so handsome. I was about to reply when the car door swung open, and this angry rich guy stormed over to me. Are you blind? You scratched my car. Pay up. Leave her alone, Bernie. He's handsome and kind, totally different from that arrogant Bernie guy. Turns out he's called Roy. We all go to the same school. Better still, Roy offered to drive me there in his fancy car. What a shame that I bumped into a hottie looking like a mess. If only he knew the real me, he'd fall for me hard. We're made for each other. We even have matching cars. We arrived at school to a bunch of fangirls waiting to greet Roy. Makes sense. He's handsome and oh so rich. What's not to like? Roy told them I was new here, but they didn't seem so pleased to see me. Roy, it's so sweet you're helping out the less fortunate. Ugh, these peasants! If only they knew the real me. To prove to Roy that I was so much better than those other girls the next day, I snuck my designer clothes to school to get changed. When I spotted Roy, I hurried over to dazzle him, but that annoying fangirl Maya interrupted us again. Nice try, new girl, but your knockoff clothes won't impress anyone. You shouldn't judge someone by their clothes. That's very kind of you, Roy. But we both know that only a Chanel girly like me would be a good match for you. Everyone started to make a fuss, but Roy just shooed them away to leave. Ugh, thanks to those wannabes, I'd missed my chance with him. After class, I changed back into my boring plain clothes ready for the bus home. What is this tacky fabric? Suddenly, Roy passed by. Cute shirt. I think it suits you much better. There's nothing wrong with dressing down. It brings out one's natural beauty better. Wow, it seems that rich boy Roy wasn't a show-off. What a blessing in disguise this pretending to be poor was. Roy clearly liked me more this way, so I should keep it up. Once, I pushed a bike to the end of the street and waited for Roy to pass by, so I could make out it was broken and ask for a lift. It's definitely not because I don't know how to ride a bike. Over the next few days, I clung to Roy. I told him how I didn't know anyone at school yet, or where anything was, as an excuse to get him to take me to the canteen. But look at the food. Really? Are we supposed to eat this? Oh, we've never gotten to eat stuff like this at home. Looks yummy! Luckily, Roy felt sorry for me even more and just caringly explained the menu. The next day, I brought in my own lunchbox with Roy's favorite, mac and cheese, which obviously was made by my chef, but he doesn't need to know that. He clearly enjoyed it, but then commented, Adele, you shouldn't waste your money and effort on me like that. Please just spend it on yourself instead. Even though he was wealthy, he was so thoughtful of others. How come I'd never thought of things this way? On the weekend, I went to a fair my parents were sponsoring in a nearby town. I wandered off by myself and suddenly spotted a familiar face selling caramel apples with some kids. Oh no, Roy! What was he doing here? He couldn't see me all dressed up like this. Before I could dart away, his eyes locked directly on mine. Roy! Hello? Why are you looking at me so strangely? This dress. It's handmade. And, my mom found these shoes somewhere. Enough about me. Why are you here? Oh, I'm volunteering at an orphanage. The kids, they're the ones that grew these apples. Oh my God, could this guy be any cuter? Even though he's loaded, he's so down to earth and humble and he wants to make a difference. I really have to learn a lot from him. Later, I took the bus back to town with Roy. We continued chatting even after stepping off the bus, but then this convertible pulled up alongside us. Ugh, it was Bernie and Maya. Oh no, don't let her drag you down like that, baby. Where's your Rolls Royce?
What's this? Isn't this Chanel's archive? Adele, are you?
Yeah, right? This is a fake one. Now, please, leave. I grabbed Roy's arm and pulled him the opposite way.
Adele, are you okay discrediting your image in front of Bernie like that? I mean, he's popular and rich. Everyone wants to impress him.
I'm not that kind of social climber. He's such a conceited, bossy jerk. Unlike you. Roy seemed touched by my words, as he invited me to go to the grape farm with him next weekend. Okay, so I thought Roy had invited me here for some relaxation and fresh air. I didn't expect to be made to carry out tasks. This was probably his way of challenging me, and no chance I was going to fail it. The workers here are immigrants from different countries, but thanks to my extensive traveling, I know quite a bit of foreign languages, enough to ask them to show me what to do, and it just so happens that my parents are obsessed with vintage wines, so I know my Chardonnay from my Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh, these grapes will make a fine Malbec. Ne sais pas, Pierre? Oh, I taught myself different languages and watched various documentaries to improve my skill set. It's nothing. Later, Roy needed to re-roof the barn, so he climbed up a ladder while I stayed below and passed him tools. But the ladder began to wobble, and he screamed at me to jump back. But instead, I stayed there and held up my arms to catch him.
Are you okay? That was dangerous. Why didn't you step away?
I couldn't watch you get hurt. Also, to have you falling for me would be everything I ever wanted. We rested in the corner, and that's when Roy told me that he liked me.
I think you're one of a kind, but I don't want there to be secrets between us.
I like you too, and that's true. We should have zero secrets. So, I want to come clean. My family's actually rich. Super rich. I'm sorry for not letting you know sooner. What about you, Roy? Do you have any secrets?
Actually, my parents own this farm. Only the workers don't know about this, so please don't tell them.
Aw, humble Roy. He's really the sweetest. He was also very understanding about the reason why I had to hide my true background. Finally, the gang leader of the robberies was caught. Things seemed to be back to normal, and this meant I could publicly go back to being me again. Everyone looked at me with different eyes. Only, Roy didn't seem all that impressed. When I invited him to my favorite restaurant, he told me he didn't like those stuffy places. Plus, he had too much work at the farm. I really wanted to go on a proper date with Roy, but I suppose just being with him was enough. So I agreed to help him out at the farm. As we waited for my chauffeur to pick us up, someone leaped out of a bush and snatched my gold necklace. As I gripped my bare neck in shock, Roy darted after them and grabbed it back. I noticed the robber say something to Roy before he fled. I later asked Roy about it, but he just shrugged it off. The next day at school, a woman in tatty clothes ran in, saying she urgently needed to find her son. When she saw Roy, she rushed towards him. "Oh, here you are! I thought something happened to you! Someone told me you were in trouble!" Everyone began chattering. "Roy, you're wealthy. Why don't you buy your mom some nice clothes?" He looked dumbfounded, then muttered, "I'm not rich. I lied." "What? Why? You always said money didn't matter, but you live in this facade?" Roy avoided my eyes, mumbled out a sorry, then led his mom outside. So this whole time, I didn't know who he truly was? Feeling hurt and deceived, I screamed out that it was over between us. My heart was cracked into two. This was horrible. Then I arrived home to see my parents frantic. Someone had sent them a threatening letter saying, "I will come when you least expect it and take what I want." My parents were terrified that something bad would happen to me, so they hired bodyguards to protect me. The next day, a whole squad showed up, and to my utter shock, amongst them was Roy. "What are you doing here? What's your scheme?" I replied to the advert. "I didn't know it was for you. Please, Adele, I need this job. I could really do with the money." I hated that he'd lied to me, but I couldn't be that heartless. So I agreed that he could be my bodyguard, as long as he knew his limit. Having Roy follow me everywhere really sucked. So when Bernie appeared and asked me out, even though I didn't particularly like the jerk, I agreed to it. It felt good to dress up and be taken to fancy restaurants, and it felt even better to see how raging Roy looked. On my way to the restroom, Roy stopped me. "Bernie's not who you think he is. Please stay away from him." I put his words down to jealousy and shrugged him off me. If anything, what he said made me even more determined to get closer to Bernie. So when he suggested I throw a party at my mansion for my 16th birthday and invite all my friends, I immediately agreed. The party was great. It's been a while since I was able to have fun and forget about the recent shenanigan for a moment, thanks to Bernie.
"Wait a minute, Bae. I've prepared a big surprise for you."
The lights went out, and I waited, wondering what it could be. But it's been a little too long. I called out for Bernie, but nothing. I didn't hear from Roy either. Realizing something was wrong, I found my way inside the house and was suddenly grabbed by someone. "Shh, let me show you something." He led me to the garage and I caught Bernie trying to start the supercar. Next to him was a bag full of priceless jewelry.
"That was fast, but I didn't come here alone."
"Yeah, but your teammates are already taken care of." Then Roy opened the garage door and the cops rushed in to arrest Bernie. Outside, I saw a couple of other robbers being led away in handcuffs.
"You again? You can act all high and mighty all you want, but you're no different from me."
It turns out, even after the leader was caught, the robbers gang was still alive and well, and Bernie was a member. He only pretended to be rich to fool his victims and provide intel to the gang. Knowing my true background, he's the one who stole my necklace. But the mission failed because Roy stopped him. As revenge, Bernie leaked information about Roy's family.
"I should have exposed your rich kid facade sooner. I let you off several times out of respect for our close friendship, but you still wouldn't leave me alone."
"Close friend? Who falsely accused me of theft then?" As he was being led away, I suddenly remembered something. "What about the letter? Why did you do such a stupid, unnecessary thing?" Bernie looked confused and insisted he didn't have time to write insignificant things like letters. "It was me. I wrote it. I knew Bernie wouldn't stop trying to steal from you, and I didn't want you to get hurt. So I sent the warning letter for your family to take cover." Roy walked off, but I went after him. "What about some accusation between you and Bernie? Is it the reason why you have to live a fake life?" Roy explained he and Bernie used to be close friends. Roy was always poor when Bernie's family was a little better off. Roy discovered that Bernie was involved in some petty thefts, so Roy tried to make him stop, but he only took revenge by accusing Roy. Although there was no specific evidence, due to his poor family background, people always assumed that he'd done it. So when Roy transferred schools, he decided to pretend to be rich, so no one falsely accused him again. Oh, my poor Roy. Ugh, why is finding my balance so tricky? Ouch! Roy helped me up and checked I wasn't hurt. "You don't have to do this. Just live your life as comfortably as before." "Nope, I want to do this. This way I can cycle to see you whenever I want. A flashy car or fancy outfit doesn't change my value as a person, but working with you felt good. And you know what? Even though you're not as well dressed as when we first met, I still like you a lot."
Hi, it's Arnie here again, just your regular computer-loving nerd. I've come back to tell you more about my story. Here's a quick refresher. I love my girlfriend Camilla, but she's addicted to romantic fiction. At times, it's like she even thinks she lives in one of those novels, which has led to plenty of awkward situations. Then one day she took it too far when she told me she was letting this handsome guy called Zach pursue her. Apparently, if I loved her, I'd fight for her and win her heart, just like the characters in her book did. I ignored Camilla for a full week after that. Then I walked past the basketball court and saw her there. She was watching Zach play, and she cheered and whooped when he scored. My heart flipped. Zach was so handsome, while I was some lanky nerd with messy hair, dowdy clothes, and a bloated belly. I was definitely the underdog in this competition. Feeling discouraged and missing Camilla a lot, I confided in my sister Paula. I guess I expected her to take my side, but instead, she advised me to stand up and take action. If I wanted to get Camilla out of her virtual world, then firstly, I'd have to step into her world to get her back. Paula told me that all girls love romantic fiction, and that Camilla loves them even more than most. So I should discover why she loves them so much by reading some myself. Then I could understand her and help her. Okay, so I guess Paula's plan made sense. But seriously, I was a computer guy, and now I was expected to read soppy books? Still, I'd do whatever it took to win back the heart of Camilla, as I truly do love her. Camilla had left some of her books at mine, so I started reading them. I'm a logical guy, so it didn't take me long to figure out the general format of these books. So I decided to learn from them in order to defeat Zach and win Camilla's heart back. so I derived a plan. The first lesson from these books seemed to be always love yourself first and love will come after. Okay, so maybe I was a bit scruffy. I guess I didn't resemble a guy who loved himself. So I went to the hairdressers, and instead of instructing them to do my usual short all over please cut, this time I asked them to give me more of a suitable and trendy style. Next, I asked Paula to come shopping with me, and she picked out some smart-looking jeans and a couple of nice polo shirts. Now, who said nerds couldn't have style? Finally, I faced my nemesis. Sports. Ugh. If I knew I wanted to have a well-built body, like Zach, then I needed to get fit. So I hit the gym and started jogging. For the first few weeks, I was a sweaty mess. But then I improved and actually found myself enjoying running. One time I was jogging through the park when I saw Camilla sitting on a bench reading. I jogged on the spot in front of her and said, "Hey." She was so shocked when she looked up and saw me that she dropped her book. As I bent down and picked it up for her, I turned around on purpose so she could check out my newly improved butt. I continued running, then peered back and saw her peering over at me from over her book. Talk about success. Now for the second lesson I learned from the reading soppy novels. The heroine should love a guy who she has this undeniable connection with. So finally, after 3 weeks of no messages or calls, I text her. "Camilla, I'd like to say that I accept your challenge and I'll prove my true love for you." The next day I waited outside of Camilla's class and invited her to lunch. To my annoyance, Zach appeared and invited himself along too. In the canteen, I pulled Camilla's chair out for her and told her I'd go pick out some food for her. "And I'll bring it over," Zach butted in. "How about if we both pick food and Camilla chooses which she wants to eat?" I replied. Needless to say, Camilla looked so excited. 2 guys were trying their hardest to impress her. This was a dream to her. I know how much Camilla loves bound salad, so I ordered a massive portion of them for her. And then I also got her a flapjack. While Zach chose some boring chicken fries for her and a massive burger for himself. Camilla looked at both trays of food, then dived straight in for the bound salad. Success again. Although poor Zach looked so disheartened that I even felt sorry for him. Well, almost. Last but not least, the third lesson. Although handsome guys often say cheesy words, that's not the point. What really makes the heroine happy was the feeling of being unique. The only one in someone's heart. Okay, so I have no idea how to say cheesy stuff, but I do truly care about Camilla and think she's a unique and special girl. So I needed to prove this to her, right? I put my plan into action. I showed up outside Camilla's door smartly dressed and holding a massive bouquet of flowers. Camilla appeared and looked flustered as she took the flowers off me. I told her I was taking her to the cinema, but she just blushed and replied, "Sorry, Arnie, I'm meeting Zach there, as I've already arranged to see that movie with him." I felt gutted, but I forced a smile and replied, "Oh, okay, sure. I hope you have a nice time. I'll go with my friend then." But I went home, changed, then went for a jog. Yeah, I know what was happening to me. After that, I felt so frustrated, so I went on my computer for a bit. I couldn't get the thought of Zach and Camilla sharing popcorn and cuddling up together out of my head. I was beginning to think I was wasting my time. And no matter what I did, Camilla would always choose a guy like Zach over me. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Camilla. She was sobbing and asked where I was. She wanted to see me. Without even thinking, I rushed to her place. Before I could even ask her what was up, she ran into my arms and started kissing me. Okay, this was crazy and unexpected, but good. Very, very good. I made her a grilled cheese sandwich, then we cuddled on the couch. She asked me, "You told me that you'd gone to the cinema with your friend. So why could you be here with me?" I looked at her and said, "Yes, that's what I said, but I just wanted to go there with no one but you." She giggled and kissed me. This all seemed so surreal. And I'd worried I'd read so many romantic fiction books that I was now stuck in one. Then she told me that she'd shown up at the cinema only to find Zach wasn't there. So she'd waited for ages. Then he messaged her saying he was at a party and had forgotten to cancel their date. This proved to her that Zach didn't care about her at all. And it dawned on her that she didn't like him either. She loves me, and she had to see me straight away. From then on, Camilla ignored Zach. She apologized to me for all she'd put me through, and told me that lanky or not, she loved me unconditionally. She also promised to try and stay grounded and to be not quite as dreamy. And to remember to take breaks to eat during her reading splurges. I know she loves fiction, and I would never ask her to stop reading the books she so loves. But I did ask her to limit her reading. Now she reads 1 book a week. Now things between us are better than ever. She still gets dreamy at times, especially after she's finished her latest book. But we both now realize how much we love each other, and we wouldn't want to be without each other. Besides, whenever she gets in her post-depressive book state, I handle it by being extra romantic toward her. I buy her colorful flowers. I take her on romantic picnics in the park. And I make her breakfast in bed, complete with heart-shaped pancakes. We also reserve 1 night a month for fantasy date night, where we both pretend to be characters from a romance novel. It's actually great fun, and Camilla loves it. I may be a computer nerd and Camilla a book geek, but that doesn't mean we don't work well together. Prince Charming doesn't have to gallop in on a stallion and have perfect hair. No. Instead, it turns out he can just be a normal, computer-loving nice guy.
Hi, I'm Celine, and I've called the St. Augustine Orphanage home since I was 6, but I'm not actually an orphan. You see, my parents are special agents with secret identities. Sweetie, if one day someone suspicious asks you about your parents, run for your life. I was used to these fleeting, ghost-like visits from my parents. They often took turns sneaking in and out at night, spending the little time they had with me, and always came together for my birthday. And even though I didn't see them much, they taught me some awesome skills. By the age of 12, I was fluent in 5 languages, could play a variety of instruments, and do a butterfly kick on anyone who needed it. Despite living a secret life and not seeing my parents as much as I wanted, I still felt lucky that I had them both in my life. It's my 17th birthday, a day I should be super excited about. You see, my parents always visit me together on my birthday, but I've been waiting here for ages and there's no sign of them. This was the first year this had happened. I didn't like it one bit. Something was definitely up. The next day in church, we were singing hymns when I spotted this strange man in the crowd staring at me. My instinct were telling me something was up, so I eavesdropped on him talking to a nun.
That girl with blonde hair. How exactly did her parents pass away?
He asked about my parents. That meant my life was in real danger. I fled with all my survival skills right away. What really happened to my parents? Have their identities been revealed? I didn't dare to think about it. So I made sure no one was following me before going to the subway and looking for a baggage locker. This was where I needed to come in a run-for-my-life situation. I waited until nobody was around before I opened it with my key. Inside was some money, a dossier documenting a girl's life from childhood to old age, and a letter.
Our darling Celine, we're very sorry that you didn't have the normal childhood you deserved. Please don't ever doubt that we cherish and love you with all of our hearts. If you're reading this, it means our identities have been compromised. We've included the documents for your new identity. Stay strong. We will reunite soon. You're a loving mom and dad. XO.
If my parents could arrange all this for me, I believe that they could handle anything and come back to me soon. So here I am, under my new identity, Diane. Australia, here I come. My parents left me just enough money to start a new life here, pay for rent, and tuition fees. How perfectly ordinary. Diane's parents were researchers away in the Arctic. She's from a basic family and attended normal public schools, then worked as an office accountant, did not marry or have children. Everything was boringly safe. The thing is, if I was going to be someone else, then I should at least be someone fun. So I didn't start school. Instead, I created and adopted the identity of 20-year-old Harper and started my first money-making idea, marriage on demand. With all I'd learned from my parents, I could make a whole lot of money and at the same time experience how a normal family would look like. Perfect! First, I became a Harvard doctor graduate so this privileged guy's parents would give him his inheritance. Next, a posh aristocrat who saved my client from a dreadful arranged marriage. And then a sweet-natured girl who helped my client intimidate their seriously mean friends. As soon as my clients achieved their goals, the contract ended and we went our separate ways. Before I knew it, through my Harper alias, I'd married 9 guys in just 8 months and become eye-wateringly rich. But as it turned out, the cases I took were all abnormal families. This 10th contract would be my final case. Then I'd say goodbye to Harper and attend college as Diane before I lost all faith in ever getting the family of my dreams. But while driving to my rendezvous, I swear that car was following me. It could be my parents or someone dangerous. Only one way to find out. Now I just had to wait. If they were dangerous, I'd drive straight off this cliff, then swim to safety. Then I saw this gormless, grinning guy peer through my window. He held up a temporary girlfriend contract.
Hey, I just want to talk.
Could he be my 10th client? Either way, he seemed harmless, so I stepped out of the car.
I'm Carlton from the courthouse. You've sure been busy, so I've been assigned to investigate you.
As far as I'm aware, it's not illegal to marry multiple times, is it?
No, only if they're real and not marriage contracts.
Carlton, I only have one client left and I'm not marrying him. I'm his temporary girlfriend, which I believe is legal. So, is there any chance you could turn a blind eye this one last time?
Legal or not, I strongly advise you to quit this job and do something more morally upright.
Just then, a black car pulled over and a man walked straight towards us. Oh no, had they found me? I'm sorry for getting you into trouble. I turned around, ready to jump, but Carlton suddenly held my hand back.
No need for that. My boss won't eat you alive. Besides, I haven't told anyone about the contracts yet.
Oh, so this man's his boss from the court? Turns out he and his wife happened to see Carlton on their way to the airport and just came to say hi.
Hey, Carl, it doesn't say much if this girl would rather jump into the sea than date you.
He looked really awkward and I felt bad for the guy. Without thinking it through, I clung onto his arm and gave him my best adoring look. Actually, we're deeply in love. I'm an adrenaline junkie, but you know Carl, he's just so strict about things like this.
You're right, Carl is rather stiff. If you loosened up a bit, you may have been promoted by now.
After they left, I explained to Carlton that's what my job is, helping nice guys out of unnecessary trouble. Nothing immoral about it. I was about to leave when he suddenly stopped me. I could see his attitude changed.
Please, make a contract with me. I know you could help me improve my communication skills and get me promoted. You can see how desperate I am right now.
I wasn't sure. I mean, number 10 was meant to be my last client, but just look at that clueless face. Fine, but in return, you must be an attentive boyfriend, and I want to have dinner with you and your family every evening. Carl looked a bit confused, but he agreed to my demands. This was probably my last chance to experience a family life. I have a strict don't be wife two people at the same time rule, so I'm meeting my other client to gently turn him down.
Celine, is that you?
Celine? He knew my name? OMG, that's Matten, the genius pianist from the orphanage. Oh no, this was terrible. He could blow my cover. I was adopted and go by Harper now. My adoptive parents turned out to be a letdown. I had to fake my identity so I could work on my own.
I understand. It's so hard for orphans like us to survive.
Yes, it sure is. Look, Matten, things got pretty difficult for me, so I had to take another job in a hurry. I can't do 2 jobs at once. I'm sorry I have to cancel our contract.
Yeah, about that. I already publicly announced I have a girlfriend just a second ago.
Pianist prodigy Matten confirmed he's currently dating someone? Matten, I really can't do this.
Just tell me who your client is. I can make a deal with him.
I can't be with them both, so I called an emergency meeting for them to plead their cases.
An article accused me of inappropriate behavior towards female artists. It's completely false, of course. I need a girlfriend to distract the public and make them see I'm not a jerk. I want this promotion. If you won't help me, I'll expose you publicly. Pfft, like that matters. I'll just take you back to the US.
No, I can't go back there, and I don't want any attention from people either. This is what I'm gonna do, Carl. I'll be your girlfriend on weekdays and do anything I can to help you get promoted. In Matten, I'll be your girlfriend, well, pretend to be your girlfriend on the weekend. But my face has to stay out of the media, okay? Once this is done, then it's goodbye Harper and hello trouble-free, simple Diane. All I have to do is play some music while Matten listens and lets the paparazzi snap photos.
I've always admired the way you play music. It follows no rules, but that's what makes it so fearless and fun.
His comment made me pine for my parents. They were the reason I played like that. They taught me in the dark, told me to flow with the rhythms without any rules. I miss them so much.
I must admit I'd always had a crush on you. When this is over, I want to protect you. I want to be your family.
This was sweet, but he didn't know that I already had a family. I just needed to be patient, then eventually they'll be back. On weekdays, I joined Carlton for lunch at work and helped him talk to his coworkers and grumpy boss. Then in the evening, I went to his house and gave him tips on how to be more charismatic, make people trust and warm up to him. I also taught him how to walk without slouching and politely greet people.
Hi, Mr. Chair. You look great today.
Oh, Miss Lamp, are you okay? You shouldn't lose more weight. You're already gorgeous.
Isn't that too much? I've never talked like this before.
You're doing great. Carlton followed all my advice. He might be a bit clumsy, but in a cute, endearing way. Still, what I anticipated most was joining his family for dinner. I'd never experienced the cozy and warm atmosphere of a family dinner before. Who knew Carl was such a great cook? And so sweet. After only 1 week, Carl now had friends at work and his boss gave him extra responsibilities. Meanwhile, Matten's reputation also made a rebound thanks to articles like, he doesn't want to be around other girls because he's so passionately in love with this amazing muse. A frantic week quickly passed, which ended with Carlton's family celebrating his new position, all thanks to me. I was so moved I almost cried, but noticed Carlton seemed off. Maybe he was bummed out as he knew this was the end of our contract. After dinner, we went for a stroll around the garden. Then he blurted out,
Who are you really?
I was super surprised. Then he told me that one of his new jobs was to investigate a girl called Diane who entered the country, then vanished.
I know you're Diane. I can recognize those eyes anywhere.
Yes, I'm Diane, but I only faked my identity to earn money.
I know you're lying again. It's fine, you've helped me, so I'll help you too. I faked some info to close the case.
Thank you, Carl. This means a lot. I knew how important the laws were to him, but he still broke them. For me.
I actually quit my job.
What do you mean? What about your promotion? You've tried so hard for that.
It's okay. I realized I didn't like it so much anyway.
I felt terrible that he'd given up his job because of me. But he didn't need me anymore. Our contract had to end, right? Now it's time to end Matten's contract. Then I can go back to being Diane. However, I showed up at the villa to a swarm of reporters.
Are you Matten's girlfriend? Please get out of the car. Are you the girl who dates him for dollars, not love? Please show yourself and verify the news.
Looks like the news of Matten's girlfriend being a girl who only married for money had leaked. I sat there not knowing what to do. Then I saw Matten coming out of the villa hand in hand with some shiny-haired girl.
These rumors about my girlfriend are all lies. Amber is a wonderful, kind-hearted soul and I couldn't be happier.
Oh, I suppose that's pretty smart of him. Finding someone with a nice background was the only way to save his reputation for now. Goodbye, Matten. I wish you well. It seems he couldn't bring himself to ruin his career to protect me the way Carlton did. Now I was free to be Diane and attend this public school my parents wanted me to.
I was wondering when you'd show up. You're rather popular. A man with a scar has been asking about you.
Someone with a scar was looking for Diane? The moment I realized someone was watching me behind the door, my instinct told me to run for my life. I rushed to the window and jumped down, just to catch Carlton peeping at me. What are you doing here?
I wanted to see you, so I tracked down Diane. I didn't expect to find you here, but I like you a lot, and
there was no time. They saw us together, so I pulled him away.
You're driving like crazy, Diane. Who are they? Why are they chasing us?
I don't know. All I know is that they're dangerous. He took his phone out to call 911, but I stopped him. No cops. I can't trust anyone but myself, Carl. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this mess. My parents often told me the best way to escape a chase is to jump into the water. However crazy it seems, please trust me. I took a sudden turn and plunged the car straight into the sea. In the water, I unfastened the seatbelt and turned to see Carl already got out of his. He pulled my hand and we swam through the window. The waves drifted us onto a beach, but I had no strength left to move an inch. They're gonna catch us.
Celine, sweetie, please wake up.
I rubbed my eyes and saw the golden sand, Carlton, and my mom and dad? Am I dead? Mom?
No, sweetie, you're very much alive.
Turns out the people chasing us were my parents. After 10 years on the job, they finally eliminated the criminal gang and retired. Dad ended up getting the scar, but it's all over now. We could finally be a normal family.
You sure made it hard for us to track you down by using a different identity. We should have known our cunning daughter would have created a more challenging life. Like father, like daughter. Huh? You're not Diane?
Carlton, my name's Celine. Mom, Dad, this is Carlton, my boyfriend. It was so cute seeing him blush. Then he quickly held his hand out and introduced himself to them.
It's lovely to meet you both. I care greatly for your daughter and I always will, no matter how mischievous she is.
Turns out it's pretty amazing just being Celine. I started school as myself and so far, so good. I'm living with my kind, talented, and normal parents. We're having the best time together, and I get to date this cute, caring chef. The best part is I can finally stop running for my life and just enjoy the people I love most.
Hi, I'm Aubrey, a super smart girl with an IQ of 200, and you should be ready for my mind-blowing story. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. I grew up in a small village in the countryside where people farm for a living. My family struggled to put food on the table, so I could only attend a monastery school. But since childhood, I've always been kind of different. The system is crashing. Please wait for a moment.
The chicken is $15.55 minus 15%. Cereal is $2.49. Potatoes, laundry detergent. So the total comes to $64.85 with the discounts and tax included.
Mom soon realized I was a gifted child, so she helped me skip some grades, and by the age of 5, I was already doing secondary school math. I always topped my classes, and other students would bribe me with candies to ask for help with their homework. At the age of 8, I scored 760 on the SAT Math and won the spelling bee competition. I became a phenomenon in the area, and reporters even gave me the Stanford Binet IQ test, which showed I had the same intelligence as a 22-year and 11-month-old person. My parents were super proud of me, especially my dad. Dad, they all gave me Lego and comics for rewards, as if I was an 8-year-old.
Yeah, they're wrong. You're 8 years and 5 months old already, little lady.
He was the only one who could spark interesting conversations with me. That is, until he fell terribly ill. But good surgeons were nowhere to be found in this remote countryside, and we couldn't afford to take him to the center either. We were desperate to see his situation get worse and worse. Then he passed away, leaving us in the depths of despair. Soon after, Mom couldn't afford my school fees anymore, so I had to drop out.
Aubrey, I'm so sorry.
Don't worry, Mom. There's nothing that school can teach that I can't learn by myself. So she signed me up for a library membership, and turned out the best memories I cherished were here, where I could immerse myself in interesting knowledge from all around the world. I was walking down the aisle, absent-mindedly running my fingers along the spines of the books, when one caught my eye. And the memories of my dad rushed back to me. If he had been operated on, he'd not have lost. I started turning the first few pages and was captivated immediately. Then suddenly, a fiery desire sparked in my heart. I want to become a surgeon. So I studied every medical book I could find, especially the ones from this author, and decided to save money to enter medical school as soon as possible. To get closer to my dream, I moved out to the city and applied for a job at a coffee shop right next to the medical school. Only...
You've broken 10 plates this week already. Are you trying to break a record?
Come on, boss. It's just some plates. Not like I burned the whole shop or something.
This will be deducted from your salary. Repeat this and you'll be fired.
Okay, that's my fault, but I knew he wouldn't fire me. There's no one else who could memorize so many orders all at once, even Diner Dash Master. Later, I was going to serve a group of students when I heard they were discussing an emergency case.
We have to remove that blood clot in segment 4 of the liver and flush the left lobe. Definitely have to start at the middle hepatic vein.
Is this dude serious? Absolutely not. A less intrusive cut would be along the falciform ligament to allow access to segment 3. Everyone fell silent and looked at me like I was an alien. Suddenly, the middle-aged man among them stood up.
Nice work, young lady. Your method is much more efficient than my student's answer. Which class are you in?
Oh, I'm not a medical student, but I aspire to be one day. The man asked me to sit down and continued asking me other medical questions, and I answered them all with ease. My adrenaline was rushing. Since my dad passed away, I hadn't had such an interesting discussion. Then, a few days later, the man came back and revealed that he was Dr. Sean Lewis and the principal of the medical school. OMG, you're my favorite author! I admire you so much!
Thank you, young lady. Anyway, I came here today with an offer. I was impressed by the knowledge you have in the medical field, and I think you deserve a full expense scholarship to the most prestigious medical school.
Can someone pinch me now? This was truly a blessing from heaven that I would definitely not let slip away. Here comes my first day. I went to school extra early to explore as much of the campus as possible. This place was so much bigger and better equipped than my old school. I was looking around the hallway to find my class when someone bumped into me. Oh, isn't it the gave the wrong answer guy at the cafe? He just coldly said sorry and hastily headed to the class over there. 412? It's my class too. I learned that he was Henry, the top student of the class. But obviously, he wasn't that good. They'll see. All the theoretical classes didn't make me break a sweat, and I even spotted some mistakes made by the professors. When lunch rolled around, I went to the cafeteria, approaching the first group that caught my eye, and they seemed to be friendly. Want some of my fries? Potato fries contain a high amount of trans fat, which is associated with type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. One day you'll have a stroke, and then you'll know why. Thank me later. They all pouted and left right away. Did I say something wrong? Right then, a nice girl came to me. I'm Laura. Mind if I sit? Sure. Then she told me she was isolated too, just because she wasn't as smart as the other students here. Why are they so mean? Hey, why you gotta be bothered by those toxic people? Do they give you a penny for your thoughts? It's not about how many friends you make. It's about finding one that knows your worth. You're right. I'm Aubrey, by the way. I know, I was in the same class with you this morning. And the way you argue with our professor? Wow, that's impressive. Laura and I quickly became friends. It's great to have her around who could truly see my brilliance and always encouraged me to express myself. Today came a big event. A conference was held by none other than Dr. Lewis. But little did I know that this event would become a battleground between Henry and I. Determined to impress Dr. Lewis, I eagerly raised my hand at every opportunity to answer his inquiries. Each time I did, Henry would swiftly raise his hand as well, competing for Dr. Lewis's attention. We argued back and forth, neither backing down until the end of the conference. After that, Dr. Lewis announced that there was one slot available in his upcoming research project, which would go to the top student of this term. The room buzzed with excitement and anticipation. My heart skipped a beat, for working with Dr. Lewis had been a lifelong dream. However, other students started cheering Henry's name. Jeez, I swore I would beat his butt off and show them who deserved it. Time to prove that I was not only unmatched in theory, but also in practice. I was the very first one to finish stitching up the incision. But as I reached for my gauze, I couldn't find it anywhere. It must be around here, I swear. Oh no, I left it inside the dummy. Okay, this time must be better. How hard could it be to use this defibrillator? But then I accidentally touched the metal pad and got shocked and fell backward. I kept trying in many other practice sessions, but that sucked. Aubrey, this cast looks exactly like a chicken thigh. Do it again. But the most annoying thing was that Henry excelled in all of them and other students started mocking me. After that, I went outside for some fresh air and deep down, I was so disappointed in myself for all my failures. Suddenly, a hand gently patted my shoulder. It was Laura. I couldn't help but hug her and start sobbing. Laura, what if I was wrong about myself? I failed at everything and people started humiliating me. Oh, they just envy you. Nobody can beat your academic scores. That's why they gloated at your failure in practice. But that big brain of yours is what matters the most, right? Yeah? And an opportunity is coming your way. There's an intelligence contest next week. If you win, everyone will have to recognize that you're the best, including Henry. Talk about Laura, my savior. I'll try my best. Just wait and see. A few days later, Laura took me to the library in a private study room. She helped me set up my laptop and left me alone so I could focus. Good luck! I participated in an online oral contest over Skype. There was a panel of judges who asked questions, and all I had to do was answer them verbally. Easy peasy. Now I just need to wait for the results. The next day, I went to school as usual, then suddenly was called to the principal's office. Dr. Lewis might have known about that competition and saw my name on the top list. I was about to brag about my performance when he accused me of helping other students cheat on their exam. Then he showed me a voice recording of me answering the questions. Wasn't that for the intelligence contest? But Laura said, Dr. Lewis, just wait. I can explain. I frantically called Laura, but she refused to pick up. Enough. I'm so disappointed in you. You're expelled from this moment. Feeling lost and crushed, I trudged myself to a bench in the schoolyard. Hey, are you okay? Okay? You're mocking me? Now that project slot is yours. Happy much? Get out of my sight now! Suddenly a stack of papers fell onto my lap. You might need this. Good luck. I believe you're not a cheater. I confusedly flipped through those papers to see that these were all of Henry's notes from the semester for practice lessons, which could not be found in normal textbooks or lectures. I kept on turning to the last page and saw a scribble. Know your worth. Something awakened inside me, so I swallowed my pride and ran after Henry. Hey, wait! I've been wrong about you the whole time. I'm sorry. Don't be. It's my fault to act competitively too. I had no bad intentions. It was just the motivation for me to study harder. I swear. But it's a pity if the medical industry loses someone like you. Well, I'm not so sure anymore. I'm used to doing everything so quickly and I can't be patient, which probably explains my clumsiness. That I can help with. Genius is 1% talent and 99% hard work, you know. Since then, I often went to Henry's house to practice. We studied together and he taught me many tips to stay calm, patient, and focused. And turns out, he's also quite the adorable type. Here you go. Thank you, doctor. This is the best stitch I've ever had. One day, I ran into Laura at a gas station. She tried to hide, but I ran straight there to catch her. How could you trick me like that and just disappear like nothing happened? I'm so sorry, Aubrey. I was so blind and just wanted to help those who are bad at studying like me. I never expected it to be that serious and you'd get expelled. And now, why are you here? It's just the medical profession was not my thing, so I quit. But Aubrey, please forgive me. I'm really ashamed of what I did, and you were the only one who had truly been kind to me. Only when you set things straight and confess everything to Dr. Lewis. But even so, there isn't a likely chance we'll be friends again. So the next day, Henry took Laura and I to see Dr. Lewis.
Aubrey? Laura? What are you both doing here?
Dr. Lewis, I was the one behind the cheating case. Aubrey had no idea and didn't deserve to be punished for my fault. I've been practicing a lot too, sir. Look at these. I've been so careful with every single one.
Aubrey has also helped me a lot on our project. I hope you can forgive her and grant her another chance.
Dr. Lewis looked quite satisfied, but then he suddenly turned pensive and shook his head.
Medical school is not where people can freely join and leave. A doctor needs an extra sharp mind and can't be fooled as easily as you were. I'm sorry, Aubrey, but you're not qualified.
My heart sank to my toes, and I locked myself inside my apartment for the next couple of days. It wasn't until Henry knocked at my door that I actually went outside. He said he wanted to cheer me up and bring me to his favorite restaurant. I sat down waiting while Henry went to get the drinks. Hey! But a second later, he slipped on the stairs and fell down with a thud with all the broken glass scattering around.
It's all right. I think I only twisted my ankle. Not a big deal.
But my stomach dropped when I noticed a trail of blood on the floor and something protruding from his ankle. A large shard of glass. I swiftly dialed 911 while Henry winced in pain.
Aubrey, you have to administer first aid.
Oh, right. I called for the restaurant staff to get the first aid kit, but it was clear that the situation was dire. Henry's face grew pale as blood continued to trickle from the wound. I held the wound closed to stop the blood, but my heart felt weak. I couldn't bear to see him suffer. You trust me, Henry?
What do you mean? Yes?
So I immediately pulled out the toolkit that I brought around in my purse. Henry bit down on the tablecloth beside us, and I started the procedure. I maintained a steady stream of chatter, trying to distract him from the pain, but it wasn't helping.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What?
Just to distract myself from the pain.
Okay, go ahead.
Stand a little taller.
And done. When I looked up, there was a crowd cheering in awe and admiration.
Guys, I caught the whole thing live.
The video of the incident quickly went viral. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to contain my excitement. I saved a human life! Reading the comments of the video filled me with a renewed sense of motivation to pursue my dream. The following morning, I was jolted awake by a notification on my phone. It was an email from Dr. Lewis himself. I headed to Dr. Lewis's office, and to my surprise, he told me he saw the video and gently said,
Aubrey, I was once like you, arrogant and overly reliant on my natural intelligence. Then, a mistaken surgery left me with regret that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. However, after watching the video, I'm glad that you changed. I saw your humility and eagerness to learn, so I'll give you another chance.
So, here I am. You have no idea how much I miss this hallway.
Welcome back.
How's your ankle doing?
Much better, thanks to you. How about a celebration dinner tonight?
Sounds great, but promise you won't need me to operate on you again. I was scared to death. Ahead of me still lay a long road, but I believe the day I become a skilled surgeon is closer than ever. And soon I can perform more life-saving surgeries for the less fortunate. Dad, I will make you proud.
I was planning a bank robbery with these dudes I hired online. They claim to be ex-criminals, so it's going to be a big haul. We identified the subject, ran through the script one more time, and then headed to the bank. But when we got there, I was speechless! Hi, my name is Jolie. Wondering how I ended up robbing a bank? Come on, I'll take you on a wild ride. I come from a happy family with a mom and dad who always showered me with unconditional love. In fact, they were so perfect, I don't think they'd ever argued about anything. Growing up, I was taught to be a good person and prioritize school for future careers. I did just that, and they were so proud. But then one day, I came home to shocking news. Mom and Dad were getting divorced. But why?
Honey, this was the best for both of us. We're just not that compatible.
Not compatible? Did you just figure it out overnight? Sweetie, I know this is hard, but we're gonna be okay, I promise. No, we're not! We're a broken family and you just act like it's nothing. Do you even care at all? Days later, I still couldn't get my mind off it until I passed by this restaurant and saw a familiar figure. Was it Dad? Holding hands with a strange woman? What the freak? Dad's been cheating on Mom? I immediately dashed home to tell Mom, but when I got there, I didn't have the heart to break it to her. Mom, you okay? It's just that the divorce has been hard on me. I respect your dad's decision, but this is really hard for me. You're the only family I got now, Jolie. No, she's wrong. I won't let her be this brooding ex-wife of Dad. I'm gonna get him back to her once he sees how his beloved daughter is being affected by this divorce. So the next day, I went to the park and picked the flowers in public. Well, not exactly, but it's bad, right? Then I crossed the street when the sign said stop, but the policeman didn't even bat an eye. Hello? I'm breaking the law over here. Okay then, Mr. Whitman's restaurant we go. I didn't order anything, but just drew all over his wall, in chalk. Well, you don't want it to stay forever, right? But Mr. Whitman appeared and thanked me instead, as I gave him the best ideas to keep the kids entertained while eating in his restaurant. Ugh. Frustrated, I read the whole book at the bookstore without paying, littered in public, and even kicked some trash cans over, but nobody seemed to acknowledge my bad deeds. So I binge-watched some crime movies to activate my evilness. Aha! A robbery! That's why I hired those idiots. Gold Beach Bank and Trust, not Gold Beach the hat shop, you imbecile! Sorry, my mistake. We went ahead with the robbery anyway and managed to steal a bunch of hats, and I made sure to accidentally drop my wallet with my ID inside. The next day, I came home from school to see the store's owner raging at Dad, accusing him of bad parenting. But Dad stayed oddly calm and just paid for all the hats I stole. What?
Go get ready. You and I are going to dine out tonight. There's someone I want you to meet.
Let me guess. It's the side chick I saw the other day.
Jolie, this is...
Aurora. I'm your dad's friend.
Aurora, we should tell her.
Oh, drop it! I knew already. You two have been having an affair, haven't you?
Jolie, watch your words.
Why? Because it's the truth? Dad was about to say something, but Aurora stopped him. I can't believe you do this to Mom. I ran out of there and hid in this alley, crying with an aching heart, when I spotted some guys looking sketchy. They had a suitcase full of money and kept looking around cautiously. Suddenly, I stepped on a squishy, and it made the loudest noise and got them all to turn towards my direction. I immediately ran away before they spotted me and bumped into someone.
Who's that? Show yourself!
The guy instantly understood the situation and hid me away.
Just a cat, Lalo.
After the gang left, I stepped out to thank him. And my, such a heartthrob. I was going to offer to repay him, but he just brushed it off and walked away. So freaking cool! Later, I got home and saw Mom packing. She said she'd move out soon. And Dad didn't even stop her. Suddenly, I noticed something. Pictures of Mom and... Aurora! Mom, you know this woman? Aurora? Yeah, we've been friends since middle school. Friends? She's not your friend. She and Dad have been having an affair behind your back. It's really over, isn't it? No, Mom! You need to stand up for yourself. If you don't do anything, then I will. There's only one way now. Get the school involved. If they see a straight-A student like me suddenly turn rebellious, they'll talk some sense into Dad, right? But of course, I need to make sure my bad deeds are legit this time. Suddenly, I noticed everyone buzzing around. Oh my god, did you hear? We got a new transfer student, and he's got such a bad boy vibe. Tell me about it. He's been the hottest topic ever since he got here. Oh my god, he's coming this way. I turned around and my jaw dropped. It was the guy I met yesterday. Suddenly headed straight to me.
There you are.
You're looking for me?
No, but I'm just tired of people surrounding me. Let's get out of here.
So, transfer student, huh? What happened to your hair?
Just thought I'd change it up a little. You know, more appropriate for school.
Wait, aren't you like some kind of bad boy? Why are you following the rules?
I got a bit of a reputation, but I'm ready to change my ways.
No! Good guys finish last, didn't you hear? That's why I'm trying to change too, to spice things up a bit. So, please, teach me to be a delinquent.
If you wanted that bad, then sure.
Yay! Thank you! You're gorgeous, man. Ooh, and a jacked bod, too. Tyler and I started my new rebellious plan.
Okay, show me what you got.
I immediately went straight to a group of nerds, slammed my hand on the table and snatched a guy's burger and started mooching off it. Here's some fries. Did your parents starve you? No! I immediately stood up and left, and saw Tyler, who was laughing at me hysterically.
That's your idea of being mean?
I know I'm bad, that's why I need you to enlighten me. Tyler then taught me some pranks, and it was hilarious. We kept the doors shut with 20 different locks and enjoyed seeing the teacher struggling to crack them all open. Got the screen to show a bunch of memes during class, then played a bell ringing sound every 15 minutes, confusing everyone. The cherry on top was to get loads of adult diapers shipped to our beloved principal, cash on delivery. When the principal asked who did it, I proudly took the fall.
Do you care to explain yourself?
Principal, I may look bad right now, but that's because my parents are getting divorced. I can't eat, can't sleep, my mind's a mess.
Alright, I get it. Jesus. I'll have a talk to your parents. You can leave now.
Father dearest, let's see how you handled this. When I got out, Tyler was waiting for me. He drove me away, then stopped by this gorgeous lake.
You didn't just rebel because you were bored, right?
I sighed, then started pouring it all out that had been bottling up inside of me.
Guess having a normal family is luxury to both of us.
What do you mean?
I actually grew up in an orphanage, but I wasn't happy there, so I ran away. I ended up on the streets and causing trouble. Luckily for me, my foster dad noticed and adopted me. I'm extremely grateful to this day, so I'm always looking to help him with the business.
Your dad has a business? What does he do? Tyler didn't answer me. When we got back, Aurora was already there waiting for me. What are you doing here? Your dad went on a business trip and asked me to come over to look out for you for a few days. No, thank you. I can look out for myself.
And who is this young man? Have we met before?
Would you please stop poking your nose into my business? Can't believe Dad still went ahead with the divorce after meeting with the principal. And now I'm stuck here with this annoying woman. Just wouldn't let me leave the house and even ordered this rubbish dusk till dawn curfew on me.
You're not going to see that guy. He's trouble.
Please, you're not my mom. So I continued meeting up with Tyler. But strangely, whenever I suggested we hang out at his place, he always seemed hesitant. So one time I went to his house to surprise him, but upon seeing me, he looked so worried.
What are you doing here? You're not supposed to come here. We have a guest today.
I turned around and was transfixed to see the sketchy guy from the alley.
Lalo, I'm Tyler's dad. You must be...
Jolie.
Oh, right, Jolie. Tyler told me lots about you. Come on in. Be my guest.
But Tyler pulled me out of there. We stopped at a nearby park when he finally loosened up a little. That man was your foster dad?
Yeah, I just couldn't tell you the truth. I'm afraid you wouldn't want me around anymore.
That's not true.
You don't get it. He's running an illicit business and now he's asking me to take over. I know I'm deeply indebted to him, but I don't want to do anything illegal.
Then don't. Just because he brings you up doesn't mean you have to do everything by his orders, especially breaking the laws, right? Tyler nodded, but still seemed troubled. That evening, Tyler was driving me back home when I suddenly saw a familiar face. I told him to drop me off there. Inside, Aurora was sitting side by side with a man, both looking all dressed up. Across the table was another person. What was she up to?
I'm telling you, this pair of top-notch diamond rings is perfect for your wedding.
Right. We only want the best for our wedding. Right, babe? Wedding? Those two? She's two-timing my dad. I quickly recorded their conversation and went home. Dad should be back tonight from his business trip. But when I told Dad everything, even with the recording, he still wouldn't believe me. What are you talking about? I was just out shopping all day with my friends.
Told you so.
Dad, you'll regret this deeply. And you, don't even think you could get away with this. I'll never accept you into this family. Tomorrow, the court will decide who I'm going to stay with. I know just what to do. I can't be in this house any longer. At the court, I stood up, to everyone's surprise, and spoke about how I got mistreated at home with Dad and Aurora, and asked to stay with my mom. The judge then asked Mom what she thought. I'm not so sure. Jolie should just stay with her dad. I was completely disappointed. Mom wouldn't even fight for me. When we got home, Dad immediately went bonkers on me while Aurora pulled off her nice act again. Right then, I got a text from Tyler asking to meet up, so I just stormed out of there. No, Jolie, wait up! When I arrived, Tyler looked surprised.
Jolie, what are you doing here? Mijo, I used your phone to ask her to come here.
Lalo then ordered his gang to tie me up. I was struggling to get away when someone rushed towards us. Lalo! Wait, Aurora? She knew this gangster? Release her now, or the police will get here any minute.
Thanks for the intel, Miss DEA agent. We're about to leave. With your daughter, of course. Now, if you want to save her, fill in the place.
DEA agent? As in, undercover cop? Fine, take me instead. Lalo's gang tied her up and pushed her into the van.
That's right. Boys, take this brat too. We can't spare any witnesses on the scene.
We had a deal, Lalo.
Really? Didn't ring a bell.
He ordered Tyler to drive away while the police siren was getting louder. Suddenly, Tyler took a turn.
What are you doing? That is not the way!
While they were distracted, Aurora slipped out the multi-tools in her pocket and started cutting the ropes around my hands. I did the same to her. Tyler then made a sudden stop. Lalo and the gang lost his balance and fell to the floor. The police immediately surrounded the van and captured these criminals. Jolie, you're alright. You didn't get hurt anywhere, right? Yeah, thank you for saving me. And I'm sorry for acting so rude. It's just, I'm not ready to move on from the divorce yet. Sweetie, there's something really important I want to tell you. I'm your biological mother. What are you saying? Jean is my biological mother. No, sweetie. She's a friend of mine. I know this is all confusing, but just listen. 16 years ago, your dad and I had you. Right after giving birth, I had to move to Mexico to handle a serial diamond smuggling case caused by Lalo. And Jean offered to help out with you. I figured you deserve a normal, happy family, so I accepted her help and asked her to move to our house. Years later, thinking the case was finally closed, I moved back home, ready to reunite with you and your dad. But I suddenly got the news Lalo's organization was still operating and had to move to the States. I couldn't risk putting you in danger, so I hid the truth from you.
But what about the person who talked about the wedding with you?
Oh, that's Alejandro, my partner. We were just pretending to be a couple for the investigation.
Oh, I had no idea. You've done so much for me.
Of course, you're my daughter.
Thank you, Mom.
Finally, everything became clear. But as we got to the house, Jean, suddenly came dragging me away.
You're my daughter! No one gets to take you away from me! Just because you raised Jolie doesn't mean you get to do anything to her. If you truly love her, you would only want the best for her.
Jean then broke down crying, revealing she had lost her reproductive ability. She was so happy she had me to take care of and treated me like her own daughter. Hey, don't worry. You'll forever be my mom. I gave Jean the biggest hugs. That's when I noticed Tyler was happy for me, but sad at the same time. I suddenly realized he didn't have a family anymore. I have an idea. Why don't you adopt Tyler into your home? Tyler and Jean looked at each other, and bright smiles appeared on their faces. Everything finally turned out to be okay. I've been trying to catch up with Mom and make up for all those lost years, but I also don't forget my second mom either. Tyler, or should I say my boyfriend, now lives with Jean, and he's driving me to visit her. I'm so happy I finally have a loving family and a baddie boyfriend. Only this time, we're not trying to break bad anymore.
I walked into the cafeteria and gulped. The only free seat was next to Joanna, one of the weirdest girls in school. She was always sitting alone, and usually I'd avoid her because people said she didn't speak much and was totally shy. But somehow, I felt kinda sorry for her. I mean, how bad could it be? Well, famous last words. It was bad. I sat down with a smile, but she just glared at me and grunted, "Go on then. Throw me your worst insult." I was confused and said, "Oh, no, I just wanted to sit here and say hi. Are you okay?" Suddenly, Joanna started speaking at 1,000,000 miles per hour, telling me that of course she wasn't okay and that she had to see a therapist every day. Then she showed me all the pills she had to take and said she had crippling anxiety. I was shocked. Overwhelmed with TMI, I felt uncomfortable and thought of leaving, but then she grabbed my hand and said, "We're friends now, right? I've never had a friend in my life before. You're the first person I've really been able to open up to. Not even my parents know how hard it is for me." Whoa, I couldn't leave her now. I patted on her shoulder and told her I'd happily be her friend. I mean, it would just be spending some lunch together or grabbing a coffee at most. It'd be fine. However, Joanna's interpretation of a friend was slightly different from mine. 3 days later, I got back from the library quite late, so I went straight to my room as usual and started changing, only to find Joanna right behind me as I turned around. I almost woke up the whole building with a scream of fright. "Oh, hey, Rumi," she said with a big grin. What? This was insane. Rumi? What do you mean? But she just laughed and said she'd felt very lonely in her dorm on her own, and seeing as I had a double room, She'd asked the dorm supervisor if she could move in with me. I guess it wasn't so bad. I mean, I got lonely too sometimes. So that night, we stayed up super late chatting. And to be honest, it was actually nice to have a roomie. We became quite close. And a few nights later, we were having a movie night. Joanna turned to me and said, "Carrie, there's something I need to tell you." Oh no, surely there wasn't any more disturbing things left. How did this girl cope? But then she started blushing and said, "I have a crush on someone. His name is Mitch." Oh gosh, I knew exactly who she was talking about. Joanna, he's bad news. He's a total womanizer. You're way too good for him. At least, that's what I said, but what I meant was that he was only into popular girls. He'd never go for a girl like Joanna. Joanna didn't take it well. "You're jealous, aren't you? I bet you have a crush on him too." "Well, I confessed, so he's mine." Huh, you're welcome to him. I never fancy someone like Mitch. I'm not that kind of girl. Joanna then said she'd prove to me that she could win him over. I felt annoyed at her and just went back to watching the movie. For a second there, it felt like my life had way more drama than ever before, and I started regretting ever sitting at her table that day. Little did I know, it was just the beginning. A week later, I was hit in the face by a huge surprise. Joanna and Mitch started dating. I was lying there listening to music when I heard voices outside the door. I opened it, and there was Mitch walking off. He turned back to blow Joanna a kiss, and then you should have seen the smug expression on her face. "Told ya," she said, laughing. Wow, cocky. But okay, I was happy for her. She was a woman of her word. But I was worried she'd get hurt. I didn't have time to tell her this, though, because pretty soon she was with him 24/7. He even came over to our dorm, and I was sick of listening to them kissing. They were disgustingly lovey-dovey all the time, and it quickly became exhausting. On Valentine's Day, he sent 100 balloons to our dorm, and I couldn't even get through the door. Could he be any more over the top? It wasn't even that romantic. But Joanna was smitten. It was painful to watch. But not as painful as seeing Mitch walking along the street holding some other girl's hand. I froze. This couldn't be. I quickly texted Joanna asking her how things were going between her and Mitch. She replied immediately saying, "All good, why?" So I told her what I'd seen, but I got no reply. I rushed back to her dorm and asked her why she was ignoring me and if she was okay. But she just started shouting at me, saying I was trying to ruin her relationship because I was jealous. Clearly, she didn't believe me. I told her I was telling the truth, but she just got up and left, slamming the door behind her. Things got really awkward after that. She ignored me in the dorm, ignored me in class, and wouldn't reply to any of my texts. And she still brought Mitch back to our room and kissed him in front of me. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore and asked her to move out. But I didn't expect what would happen next. Joanna lost it. She started shouting, "What's your problem? For the first time in my life, I'm happy and someone loves me. And there you are, trying to ruin this for me. And now you want to kick me out? It's not my fault you're single, Carrie. Maybe if you stopped being so jealous for a second, someone would like you back." I couldn't believe her. I wanted to scream. She was the worst. And the next morning, it got even worse. I was sitting with some friends before class started when suddenly Joanna walked in and burst into tears. People ran over to her and asked if she was okay, and that's when my blood ran cold. She started saying how I'd been bad-mouthing her boyfriend, and now I wanted to kick her out of our dorm. And then I heard my voice. I looked over, and she had her phone out and was playing a recording of our argument. Of course, she'd edited it to make me sound like the bad guy. Even my friends looked shocked. and Joanna told them all how I was a two-faced, good-for-nothing kind of girl and that I loved to gossip about everyone behind their backs. I tried to explain to everyone that Joanna was lying and that she was just angry, but everyone looked at me in shock. It was like they believed her. I was stunned. The next day, I noticed Joanna showing my friends some photos on her phone. They were screenshots of texts from me, but she'd edited them to create a total monster out of me. One time, Joanna had messaged me laughing about how my friend Valerie had the worst hairstyle ever, and I joked that she must have cut it by herself. And there was the message where Joanna talked about how Mitch said his ex, Anna, who was also our class president, must have been flirting with the economics teacher to get good grades. And I said, has Anna sunk that low? Not only having an affair with a married man, but basically committing academic fraud? I don't think she would do that, though. But of course, Joanna had cropped out the last sentence, and she didn't show her parts in the conversation either. By that way, I looked like the worst friend ever. I tried to tell them what Joanna was doing, but they were too hurt to believe me. But that's not all. You see, Joanna had sent these messages to the whole school. For the rest of the day, people were coming up to me and telling me I was nothing but a mean girl. And then at lunch, I went to sit in my usual spot with my friends, and suddenly they all jumped up and left me there alone. I could hear everyone whispering about me. And then the most popular girl, Amy, came over to me and said I was a disappointment to this college, and I didn't even deserve to be here. I couldn't hold back my tears, so I rushed back to my dorm. But standing there with her arms folded, blocking the door, was the dorm supervisor. She said that she'd received reports about my behavior and that I had 1 week to move out of the dorm. I didn't understand. What had I done? Apparently, people had told her I wanted to get her fired. And then I remembered Joanna saying those exact words and asked me how she could report to the manager. So I'd sent her a text explaining how to report her. Oh my gosh, she'd even used that against me? This was too much. I went to find Joanna. I was furious. She was ruining my life. When I got to class, I planned to show everyone our full chat conversations, unedited. But I didn't get the chance because Joanna was sobbing hysterically, and everyone was comforting her. She was saying how living with me was torture, and that she had to take medication to deal with me. Enough! How dare you! I screamed. Why are you doing this to me? What did I ever do to you? Joanna, of course, started crying even louder, and everyone stared at me like they wanted to kill me. I walked out of there feeling completely empty. I'd lost my friends, my dorm, my reputation, and every last bit of dignity, all because of that snake. I still didn't know what I'd done wrong. The more I tried to understand it, the more everyone defended Joanna. It was useless. No one listened to me. Eventually, I ignored them all, moved out of the dorm, and acted like Joanna didn't exist. Fortunately, I made some new friends that loved and trusted me and never twisted my words. As for gossiping about me that everyone else still did, I learned to block it out. And then about 4 months later, I got an email from Joanna. I was shocked. She said, "Carrie, I'm sorry. You were right all along. Mitch was cheating on me, and I should have listened to you. Please forgive me. I'm begging you. I'll do anything to make it up to you. I'll confess to everyone. Please, let's just be friends again. I miss you." Ha! Not in a million years. I deleted the email right away. There was nothing that she could do to ever make it up to me. She'd ruined my life, and I was done with that toxicity. Good riddance. Hi, I'm Addison, but all my friends call me Addie. I'm just an ordinary girl who doesn't have any particular talents, but there is one thing I do have. That is... Oh, why don't we just watch the video to see what it is? This is my older sister, Olivia. She's beautiful, isn't she? She's also an amazing singer and has a talent for art. She can pretty much draw anything. I mean, I don't know how my parents could have such a perfect daughter like her, then have me. But I'm fine with that. Olivia was all about winning trophies and medals, while I was happy with the ice cream and ton of snacks my parents gave me for getting a B on my math exam. Hey, Addie, my baby. Guess who's got some new trendy clothes? Oh, Mom, Dad, I don't like these things. Why are you buying so much? It's such a waste of money. However, Mom's desperate look made me cave, so I reluctantly grabbed a random item and went to try it on. Oh, it's a crop top. I stared at myself in the mirror. Okay, so my parents' dumbfounded expressions made their feelings pretty clear. I looked ridiculous. See, I told you already. I'm way too short to wear tops like this. Right at that moment, Olivia walked by. I immediately ran over to her. I think you should have this top. It'll bring out your nice figure. You'll look so cute in it. Mom shook her head. No, if Olivia wears this, everyone will see her navel. Isn't that the point of crop tops? Then Dad chimed in.
Anyway, Liv, where are you off to in such a hurry? It's not that nonsense model club again, is it?
Speaking of clubs, is the school dance club still recruiting? You should join. You'll get in for sure. My sister rolled her eyes, then left, slamming the door behind her. I loved my sister, but she just seems to find me annoying. She was like the ice queen, always shutting me out. She never allows me to borrow her clothes or to touch her stuff. And if I ever try to go into her room, she freaks out. It's not that she's mean as such, but she tends to act like I don't even exist. It's okay. I mean, I'm kinda used to it. I live my own life and she lives hers. So that's why when I got my first cell phone and started to use social networks, I didn't try to search for her profiles, though I knew she was on all those platforms. That evening, my mom asked me to go upstairs to call Olivia for dinner. No answer. So I began pushing the door open. She suddenly appeared from the bathroom and yelled, "Hey, what are you doing? You know you're not allowed in my room." I knocked, but you didn't answer. Mom says it's dinner time. She hissed at me and shooed me away. Ugh! Why did she have to treat me like I was some pest? The way she was so weird about her room was annoying. Maybe she was hiding something in there? Nah, probably I was just overthinking this. Olivia was always like this. Life went on, and my sister, well, she continued to distance herself from me. But then one weekend, I walked downstairs to find her cheerfully humming a song as she danced around the kitchen. When she saw me, she smiled and said, "Morning, sis. Come sit here. I made you breakfast." Okay, this was weird. I cautiously sat down and kept looking at her. Why are you so happy? And where are Mom and Dad?
Mom and Dad just rushed off on some work thing.
Then she put the plate in front of me, grinned, then continued.
Mom made cookies this morning and told you to take them to Grandma's. Tell her I said hi.
Oh, you're not coming with me?
No can do. Sorry, I've got work to do.
She continued to look at me, and I got the feeling she wanted me to hurry up. Before I'd even finished my toast, she passed me my jacket and bundled me out of the door. Having no choice, I made my way to Granny's while in deep thoughts about how odd this was. Until I realized that I didn't even have the cookie bag with me. I'd left it at home. Gosh! I immediately rushed back. But, why was there a strange car parked outside my house? I lingered back and watched as a middle-aged man got out of the car. Before he even got to the door, Olivia opened it and smiled at him. I dove behind a bush so I could carry on watching. Huh? Why was he handing her flowers and a gift box? She happily took them from him and even leaned into his ear and said something. Oh my God! So this explains my sister's strange behavior. They're a couple, aren't they? I never thought that my sister would be interested in an old man like this. Shocking. But wait, what if he's deceiving her? As Olivia may look sharp, but she's actually very innocent. If that was the case, I would beat him black and blue. But this was just my speculation. I can't hastily act without knowing the truth. So I decided not to let them know that I was there, and quietly entered the house through the back door to get the cookie bag. Later that day when I arrived home, my sister was back to her Ice Queen self. She was cooking in silence, so I told her Grandma said hi, and she just grunted, then carried on stirring her soup. I needed to find out what was actually going on. The perfect opportunity arose a few weeks later, when Mom and Dad went away on a weekend trip. I told Olivia I was meeting some friends for a picnic, but this was a lie. I actually hid in my faithful hiding spot and watched. As expected, the old man showed up and Olivia let him inside. The door was ajar, so I tiptoed inside and heard them laughing in the living room. I peeked in, and to my astonishment, my sister was sitting on the couch wearing the weirdest outfit ever. It was those kinds of clothes that only catwalk models wear. And most of all, she had this heavy makeup on and looked like a totally different person. The strange man was sitting next to her. Both of them were looking at her phone and laughing happily. Oh gosh, now everything was clear. From her reserved nature to her seemed-to-be secret room, it was all so she could continue to hide this age difference love story. I didn't know how to react now. I just kind of felt bad for her because she had to hide it. I mean, this was her home, and we were her family. We might not have been close, but she was my big sister, and I wanted her to be happy. If this love was real, then I fully supported her. And if this guy turned out to be bad, well, then I'd protect her to the end. My parents returned that evening, so I set up a family movie night. A great idea for family bonding, right? I chose a romantic movie in which the main actress is much younger than her boyfriend. In the middle of the movie, I turned to my parents and asked, Mom, Dad, if you were their parents, would you allow that relationship? They gave me confused looks. Then Dad immediately asked,
Hey, Addie, don't tell us that you're in love with an old man, huh?
This startled me, but before I could say anything, the doorbell rang. I was about to go open the door, just to avoid answering Dad's question, but Olivia was faster. Not long after that, she turned back and shouted at me. Addie, how dare you touch my phone?
What's up, Liv?
Who's at the door? Go ask your dear daughter Addison. She gave me a dirty look, then stormed up to her room. My parents immediately bombarded me with loads of questions.
What's happening here? Who was the one ringing the bell? Why that manner of Olivia?
Okay, the one who rang the bell was Olivia's boyfriend. So, earlier, when Olivia left her phone in the kitchen, I noticed that there was a message from a man named Henry Davis. I immediately searched for him on Facebook and found out that this was the same guy who'd been visiting her. So, I used her phone to text him, telling him to come around at 8 p.m. I thought it would be better if Olivia could make her relationship public with our parents. But, Hayes, it seems she didn't take it very well. Anyway, now I had no choice but to tell my parents everything. Their faces dropped, and without saying anything, they ran upstairs and banged on Olivia's door. But there was no reply. Instead, all of us heard a rattling sound from the back door, and Olivia had fled. Our parents' faces turned red, while I felt so guilty as I not only wasn't able to help her, but only worsened the situation. The next day, Olivia still hadn't returned. She also didn't show up for school, which caused my parents to freak out. Then I suddenly thought of Henry. Right. Why didn't I think of asking him from the beginning? So I immediately contacted Henry and asked him to help find Olivia. That afternoon, when I just got home from school, I saw Henry driving off. There was a note stuck to the door saying Olivia was fine, with an address below, and it also said if we come there at 9 a.m., we'll see Olivia. The next morning, we showed up earlier than scheduled. Huh? It was a studio, and just like Henry said, Olivia was there. She looked so glamorous and was so busy prepping for a photo shoot that she didn't seem to notice us. Henry welcomed us and started explaining everything that made my parents, as well as me, speechless. Turns out, the truth was far from what I thought. He was not her boyfriend. Instead, he's her manager. He saw Olivia's potential and guided her to become a photo model and a TikToker. The flowers and gifts were from the brand she was working with. And the other day, she wore that outfit and makeup for a TikTok video. After the shoot was over, we walked over to her. But she took one look at us and ran away. I managed to catch up with her, then said, "Sis, why didn't you just tell us the truth? We're your family. We'll always be on your side." "On my side? Really? You have no idea what it's like to be an outsider. It doesn't matter how many competitions I win. I'm invisible, while you get praised for just getting an okay grade on a math test. I want to be a model, but they don't want that for me. They want me to be miserable. I'd rather leave that house to do what I love." I was dumbfounded, and so were Mom and Dad, who by this point had caught up with us and heard everything she'd just said. Dad hugged Olivia, then in an emotional voice said,
"Olivia, it's not that we forbid you from doing what you want. We were just worried for you. We just know that this industry can be complicated, and we don't want you to get hurt." "That's right. And it's not true that we love Addie more than you. You just excel at everything, and we just didn't want Addie to feel insecure. We're really sorry, Olivia. We all love you."
"Oh no, Mom, don't worry. I never felt that way. Actually, I've always admired Olivia, and it made me sad when she ignored me." Olivia burst out crying, and our whole family hugged each other tightly.
"Sorry to interrupt, but you must have had some idea about Olivia being an internet star already, right? I mean, it's easy to tell from her social networks."
I shyly said, I don't follow any of her accounts. I thought she just wanted me out of her way." Henry then patted my head and showed us Olivia's social media accounts. And wow, she had millions of views and followers. We all watched some of her TikTok videos together, and she totally rocked it. Seeing how much this meant to her, my parents came round to the idea of her being a model, and they even thanked Henry for helping her. Then Olivia came closer to me. "Hey, Addie. I'm sorry for being so cold in the past. Turns out, you love me so much and will support me regardless. At least now if I really fall in love with an old man, I don't have to worry, right?" Then everyone laughed. Oh, even though my plan didn't, go exactly as intended, I still call it a success, because it all ended out great in the end. You thought it was all finished, huh? Nope, not yet. There's one more thing I want to show you guys. That night, for the first time, Olivia let me go inside her room. Wow, it was like a mini studio with expensive flashlights, a ring light, and a camera. And her clothes and makeup collection were super impressive. Oh, do you remember what I said at the beginning of the video about being an ordinary girl? Well, that hasn't changed. But now I can confidently say that there is one thing I do have, and that's an awesome big sister who loves me unconditionally.
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia, and I'm going to tell you my amazing but totally bizarre story. But before I do, please like and subscribe. I have a big sister, Gwen, who's 2 years older than me, and she's basically a genius. From as young as I remember, I idolized her.
What is 25 squared?
625, Dad. Honey, what's this? It's the Starry Night, an oil-on-canvas painting painted in June 1889 by the Dutch post-impressionist painter Vincent van Gogh. While I'm, a bit different.
And Lydia, I have 10 candies. I'll give you 2. So how many do I have left?
Isn't this doll cute, Daddy? Yeah, I'm no genius, with no particular talent, no flawless beauty, and almost no friends either. But Gwen didn't mind and was always supportive of me. It's fabulous! Fabulous! It's fabulous! That's why I adored her a lot and tried to copy everything she did.
It's fabulous! What's so fabulous about my cat dying? Oops, wrong timing.
Then, when I was 16, Gwen left for college. Out of sight, but definitely not out of mind. My parents went on about her all the time, which only made me miss her more. I dreamed of going off to college and having a perfect life, as she did. But for that to happen, I needed to shake up my plain Jane life. I wonder what my hidden talent is. Could it be dancing? No, definitely not. Okay, maybe singing would be better.
Right now I'm in a state of mind I wanna be in like all the time. Ain't got no tears left to cry.
That's enough. Next. Gosh, why can Gwen make it seem so easy? But at least my grades didn't fail me. I studied my butt off and finally got into law school just like Gwen did, then moved out. Yahoo! So here comes my first day of college. Send me spiritual strength, Gwenny. I successfully joined the cheerleading team and boys started noticing me. But I only had eyes for Ethan. My super handsome boyfriend. Finally, I achieved the life I'd always wanted. Thanks, sis, my real-life role model. Then one day, I arrived home to see a familiar figure waiting for me. Gwen! I was so happy, thinking she'd finally freed up time to visit me, but she looked so upset and had gained weight. A bit. College life seems to have fattened you up. Lydia, I'm pregnant. What the chocolate fudge? One eternity later, I finally managed to close my goldfish mouth, then invited her inside. I dropped out of college 6 months ago, then found out I was expecting a baby right after. My due date's in just 2 weeks, and I have nowhere to go. Please, Lydia, let me stay here. Our parents must not find out. I can't face their disappointment. How about my disappointment? She was meant to be perfect, but she's just ruined everything. What about the father? He has to study in France, so you're the only one I can rely on right now. As mad as I was, I still felt sorry for her. She is my sister, after all. So I let her stay, but refused to talk to her. During the whole week, she hardly slept a wink. She plodded around the place, constantly trying to rub her back and tensing through the pain. I hated seeing her in so much discomfort, so yes, I caved. Together, we prepared for the arrival of our new family member, and I have to admit it, I was kinda excited.
Let's find an adorable, meaningful name.
Okay, let me do some research. Love Rosie is my favorite movie, so let's name her Rosie. Wow, that's fast. Baby Rosie was born healthy and happy. We three had such a good time until one day, I arrived home from college to find a note and an envelope inside Rosie's crib.
My darling Lydia, I'll be away for a while longer. 2 months, I suppose. I have to make some changes so that I can provide for Rosie. Please take care of her for me and do not tell anyone about this. I will be forever grateful for this. G.
OMG! How could she do this to me? I still have college, my friends, Ethan, and now a niece? But when I turned to see Rosie smiling at me with those big, round, sparkling eyes, suddenly my heart melted. I can do this. Rosie, looks like it's just the two of us now. Mommy will be back soon, so please make things easy, won't you? She absolutely did not. Sometimes I wondered if Rosie was real or an AI program because every night at 3 a.m. sharp, she would cry her lungs out. And if her milk was a little colder than 98.6, she'd spit it all out. Not to mention, I have to come up with 1,000 ridiculous ways to keep her entertained. And my house was always filled with the smell of stinky diapers. But other than that, Rosie was very sweet. I can't bring myself to get angry at her. I had no other option but to take online lessons instead of going to class. One time, I forgot to turn off the mic, and suddenly, Rosie farted so loudly that the entire class immediately flocked around to look. Another time, I was so exhausted from staying up all night that I felt my eyelids drooping. Then, Lydia! Yes, dear, milk is coming! I don't think milk works for you, but an F will. Oh no. Despite my constant apologizing, I still ended up with poor results. This semester, I'd already failed 2 classes and been kicked out of the cheerleading team. You think that is the worst part? Think again. On a super lucky day, I was at Walmart, overwhelmed with dozens of diaper brands when I saw none other than Ethan. There's nowhere to hide, Lydia. You're doomed. Oh, hi, Ethan. Didn't expect to see you here. Sorry, recently I'm a bit busy. Do I know you? Huh? I'm Lydia, your girlfriend? What? It's really you? You ghosted me for the past few weeks. Jeez. Did you even take a shower? And what's that thing? Want to trap me with a baby? No, she's not my child. And it's true that I forgot to wash my hands after changing Rosie's diaper this morning, but anyway, please, I just need to look after her for a few more weeks and everything will be back to normal. That's enough. Look at you. You're just like a cave girl. By the way, use this. And you know what? We're over. No words can explain how pathetic I am right now. It's all because of your mom. She's such a... Now my life's a living misery, all because of you two. Shh. I'm sorry, Rosie, I didn't mean it. None of this is your fault. 2 months is almost up. When your mom's back, things will be okay again. But 2 months passed, and Gwen was still nowhere to be found. Worse still, the money she left ran out. I had no choice but to find work, so I took a personal tutor job where students came to my place to study. Not a single soul applied, until one day I opened the door to see this guy. Hello, can I help you? I saw this flyer and want to attend the class. Oh, really? Sure. Come on in. Turns out, he's Augustin. He wanted to get onto the same law course as me, but last year he didn't make the grade. I tried my best to keep an eye on both Rosie and Augustin in separate rooms, but once in a while, Rosie let out a squeak. You hear that? That's my cat. Solve this equation. I need to go to the toilet. But you went 10 minutes ago. I have a small bladder. It runs in my family. Any problems? If you fall in love with someone, just confess like this. My love for you is like diarrhea. I can't hold it in. Mwahaha! Disgusting. I pity anyone who falls in love with him. I hurried back in to see him on his phone. So much for working hard. Huh. Hey, if you really want to get into college, at least put some effort into it. Like how you did your Snow White makeup. Oh no, it's baby powder. It's flour. I'm making bread. Didn't know you can make bread in the toilet. It's okay, teen mom. No need to hide your baby anymore. No judgment here. Seeing as the game was up, I told Augustin the truth. Surprisingly, he seemed understanding and even asked if he could see Rosie. Whoa! Who knew Mr. Jokester could be so good with babies? I've never seen Rosie so full of joy and laughter like that. Gradually, I no longer saw him as my student, but more like a friend. It's not like he came to my place to study anyway. We talked a lot, even outside tutoring sessions, and I learned so much about him. You'll never fulfill your law school dreams by playing games all the time over studying. Who said law school is my dream? And this is not a game. Huh, a fashion website? Don't tell me it's yours. Yeah, I'm the founder of this brand. No way. And what's this? Can you really sell this plain cap for $200? It's not about the cap. It's about the brand's design. He then told me he had always dreamt of opening his own fashion chain, but his parents never supported it and just wanted him to be a lawyer like them. That's why he was never serious about his studies and messed about. So, what's your dream? Become the best judge in America? It's totally not a hard question, but why am I speechless? I just want to be as cool as my sister, but she's not so cool anymore. Right then, Rosie squealed and filled her diaper, which somehow saved me from the situation. But Augustin's question got me thinking. I need to find the answer. You look distracted. What's on your mind? I found it! I want to be perfect! That's vague. How do you define perfect, though? Does it make you happy? I'm not sure. How about this? Have you ever thought about it? Oh, this is nonsense. Forget it. I've forgotten to take care of myself for so long. My boyfriend dumped me, and now my friends also ignored me. I became a loser, all because of a baby. Right then, my lecturer emailed me. A last-minute spot had come up on the debate team for the most important competition of the year. This is my big chance. But how was I supposed to care for Rosie and prepare for it? After a whole night of tossing and turning, the doorbell woke me. Was it Gwen? Oh, it's just some strange guy. Hi, you must be Lydia, Gwen's sister. I'm Kyle, Gwen's boyfriend, and her baby daddy. What on earth? Look at him! I didn't know Gwen had such a weird taste in men. Aren't you studying in France or something? What? Yeah, but without my baby, France, Germany, or even the North Pole are all meaningless. Can I see her now? And after that was the reunion of the century. Thanks for taking good care of Rosie, but now I'll do it. That's my duty as her father anyway. Kyle might look intimidating, but he seemed to love Rosie sincerely. So even though it broke my heart, I gave Rosie to her dad. Besides, there's a huge opportunity waiting for me. I put all of my focus into studying, and it was all going amazingly. I ate the competition and left no crumbs, then even got invited back onto the cheerleading team. My dream life was back. But why did I feel like I had this big hole inside of me? Congratulations, best debater of the state! Thanks. Sup? You took back everything you wanted. Why the long face? I don't know. I just feel empty. So, what can we do to make you feel happy right now? So, here we are, at Rosie's place. What's that loud crying and scolding sound? I impatiently pressed the bell, and Kyle took forever to answer. OMG, is that cigarette smoke? And look at the house! It's a huge mess! What are you doing to Rosie? That's it. Give her back to me. You have no right to take her away from me. The only one who can raise Rosie with me is her mother. So tell Gwen to come back to me. What? You didn't talk to Gwen about this? Last warning. Tell Gwen to come here and ask to be my girlfriend again. Then I'll consider giving her the baby back. Excuse me, it's father-daughter time now. I fell on my knees like all my strength was drawn away. It's all my fault. I handed Rosie to him. Calm down, Lydia. Let's try contacting your sister first. I called Gwen a million times, but no surprise, she didn't pick up. So I shot her a message about the current situation and asked her to show up ASAP. Me and Augustin waited outside Kyle's house for ages, and right when we were about to give up, Gwen finally appeared. We banged on the door, but that jerk Kyle refused to let us in. Oh, you finally showed up. If you want the brat back that badly, then it'll cost you, let's say, $5,000. What a lowlife! Gwen was inconsolable, and Augustin kept trying to kick the door down. Success! We were about to storm in, but then spotted Kyle running off with Rosie and jumped onto his motorbike. Call 911. We've got this. He led me over to his bike, and I clung on for dear life as we chased after Kyle. He was going so fast, and I thought we were going to lose him. Then suddenly, Augustin took a sharp turn up a narrow alley. What are you doing? He went the other way. Trust me, and hold on tight. We whizzed back onto the main road and managed to cut Kyle off at the town square. He tried leaving the baby there and running off, but the cops caught up just in time, and he was arrested. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have left like that. I put you all in such terrible danger. All I wanted was to make things right. Gwen, it's okay. We're all okay. After that, we all went back to her dorm. Turns out she's now a journalism freshman. And I cannot believe my eyes. How could she live in a place like this? Why are you... My life wasn't full of roses at all. The perfect image that I built up was all fake, and it completely wore me out. But this is real. It's what truly makes me happy, so please understand. I didn't know that, but I'm glad you found your dream. You'll always be my coolest sister. And with a holding hand, Gwen found the strength to tell our parents everything. They weren't angry at all, and even felt sorry for her carrying all that burden alone. Turns out it was Gwen who put all the pressure on herself. Mom and Dad even suggested that Gwen move back with them, so they could help her take care of Rosie. Finally, everything was sorted out, except I realized law was not my passion after all. Now, which path should I take? Suddenly, Augustin came to me with a wrinkled piece of paper. How about you start with this? Gosh, you still keep it? Let's say I'll give it a try. Hi, it's me again, and today is the grand opening of my baby clothes store. All the clothes here are my own designs. Adorable, right? And my marketing and branding expert, aka my soulmate, is this guy. Oh, of course, my family was also here. Mom. Wow, Rosie had just spoken her first word. Let's take a picture to capture this memorable moment. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, sweetie.